Hello, this is Hervé from ComicBookBin, filling you in since 2002. I'm going to be speaking about what ComicBookBin is today because on August 8th, the site will be 21 years old. Yes, I started ComicBookBin on August 8th, 2002. The domain had been bought a few months earlier, but I started posting things on the website on August 2002. First, I used the site to try to sell my excess comics. It never worked. So I started putting some news. So for a while it was a mix of news and kind of a comic store, back issue comic store. The back issue business never really worked. So it was a bit of a confusing message at the same time also for the visitors because they would see content, news, reviews and stuff, as well as stuff to purchase. And before long, other people joined me at the website to start writing articles. Back then, it was possible for people to just want to work with some person somewhere starting a website. It was possible. Nobody does that in 2023. It doesn't happen anymore. So the website just became a news website. You may have heard of it. You may not have heard of it. Why? Because from 2002 to 2012, the site was very active. But then in September 2012, I started grad school, PhD school, and I just could not maintain the website anymore to the same extent. And without me guiding the site, the team kind of just dissolved slowly. We had some very good people for years working on the website, dedicated. Some of the guys who work on the site for years even produce more content than I did. Yes, content. The site is 28,000 articles. Now, you don't create a 28,000 article website anymore. People don't do that anymore. Everything is on social media, not on a specific website. And the thing also, which was interesting, which has always been interesting with ComicBookBin, is discovering ways and how people consume material on the web. So we were there in the early generation of people creating portals or their own websites, which were not blogs, where people could just find stuff. And that's what we did for years and years and years. And then slowly, something called Wikipedia, something called social media began to take place. And that just edged out. And then bigger players start showing up and so on. Everything done at ComicBookBin was always done on a shoestring. And then YouTube explosion came. Now, I had two guys, Ellie and Avi. Avi actually started the ComicBookBin account, YouTube account, which is why it's so old. It's from 2006. How many of the people you watch on YouTube every day can claim that they have a YouTube account that's as old as ours? 2006. That's exactly the year that YouTube was created. So we were there from the beginning. So Avi and Ellie used to put a lot of content. I used to do a little bit of that too, but not to the same extent as they did. But ComicBookBin was always about more than comics. It was about comics, action figures, movies, animation, and of course, games. So Ellie used to put a lot of content on the website, and you'll see a lot of that content is still there. There used to be a lot more. Back then, video game publishers used to send us stuff, demos all the time, and they used to ask us to post this stuff. Now, when you post this stuff, today into 2023, you can get a penalty for that because it's a duplicate content and someone might claim a copyright issue with that. But back then, it was a free-for-all. So one of the issues that we've had over the years at ComicBookBin, we've had a lot more content than the number of video that you see listed here. There's actually probably 5 times as much content that's behind the scene that we can't post anymore because a lot of it is considered copyright infringement and duplicate. Speaking of copyright infringement, we got hit so many times with that when the rules were changed on us that the channel is not monetized and it won't be monetized for quite a long time. So a few months ago, I decided to relaunch the ComicBookBin YouTube channel after laying it there for years and years and years. For 5 years, I didn't touch it almost at all. I didn't have time. I had to work on school stuff and career stuff. Only now do I have the time to spend a little bit more time on the YouTube channel and even the ComicBookBin website. It's been fun to come back to something so old, but at the same time, something that I've done for so many years, create contents and so on. It's amazing doing YouTube right now because even though I posted some very early YouTube videos on the platform, it's as if we're a new channel today, even with a decent amount of followers. I mean, 587, I think that's decent. It used to be decent way back. We've lost a lot more than that because the channel was dormant for so many years. But that's life. So it feels today working on YouTube that I'm starting from scratch. We are not monetized at all. And every new person that subscribed with us is valuable because we're starting from scratch again. Yeah, we start with a base number, but the work that I'm doing right now with the action figures, every new subscriber is subscribing to the new content, the new ComicBookBin content that's available now, not material that was available 10 years ago or more. But that's okay. I've always liked action figures. My first action figure review was in 2003. It was an Iron Man action figure from Marvel Select, the Ultimate Iron Man action figure. That was my first review. So at ComicBookBin, I used to review a lot of action figures, except when I reviewed them, they weren't videos, they were written reviews. I'm still not familiar or at ease or completely used to creating content for podcasts and videos to that extent. I'm so much more used to writing my articles out. I feel like I've got more control when I write them out. I feel like I can edit. I feel like I can have the perfect article, the perfect copy, the perfect text. With video, if you stutter, if you make a mistake, if your accent becomes too strong one morning, people will notice. It's not the same when you write something on a website where you can control, edit, and completely show what you want to show. Here there's a bit more intimacy in the fact that you guys can sense my voice. I guess it makes me more vulnerable, and it's not something that I'm so used to in terms of delivering content. I will say that rebuilding the YouTube channel is challenging. I keep saying maybe I should just go back to writing these articles out. It's something I know how to do, but it seems that everything related to action figures in terms of reviews, you don't see written reviews as much as it used to be. So I guess I have to evolve with times. Most of the reviews that we find on action figures are video reviews. Having said that, when I wrote an article at the bin, there used to be much more views than that. And still to this day, there's much more people reading it. And there's a sense that the article will last longer, even though YouTube does not erase your content, but it disappears. At ComicBookBin, our stuff is easy to find. It's always there. You can find some old Toy Biz reviews, some DC Direct reviews from way back. It's easy to find. It's all there. But most people don't know who we are. Most people don't know who we are on YouTube, even though it's an old channel. And I like to say, filling you in since 2002. But what does that mean for you? What does that mean for you? Some of you guys weren't even born maybe. And now you're listening to this guy who's telling you he's been reviewing things as long as Frush. Yeah, Frush. We started about the same time, by the way. It's kind of funny. Frush just went full on YouTube years ago. I didn't have time back then. I was in grad school. I couldn't do that. There's nothing I could do about that. Life choices. I could not just jump in and make the site live. I could not. It was a decision that I made to focus on other aspects of my life. And only now am I more free to go back to ComicBookBin and creating contents like in the past. Except this time I don't have the big team around me. There's still a few people writing here and there, but not to the same extent where we used to have 20 writers at any one time creating contents all the time. Way back at ComicBookBin, we used to have sometimes 20 articles per day. That was amazing. We don't do that anymore. I don't do that anymore. I can't do that. I physically cannot create so much content as what we used to do way back. But that's okay. People don't consume stuff online the same way. It's all on social media or on YouTube or Instagram. Speaking of Instagram, I only created the Instagram for ComicBookBin in April. It seems to be popular enough. People seem to like it, but it's a whole new media for me. I don't know it very much. I'm just posting pictures right now. So if you're listening to this and you find this interesting and you don't mind some guy with a French accent, this is something that I'm very self-aware of. Well, you can follow subscribe. Like I said, I'm very conscious about the fact that I'm a Francophone, I'm a French Canadian, and so I have an accent. And I'm always wondering if this is something that bothers people when they listen to my reviews here. If they say, this guy has an accent, we can't listen to this guy all day, we're not going to subscribe to him. It gets on our nerves. And also, I'm not a radio person. I guess YouTube, if you look at the algorithm and the stuff, it would say you need to change this, this, and that. I can't. I'm not a disc jockey. I'm not a radio announcer. It's not the same as writing an article. That I know how to do. Speaking out loud, reviewing stuff out loud, I've never done that before the last few months. It takes a lot of training to do that, and growing pains. I'm still trying to figure out how to make videos the best way for you guys, how to make stuff that really matters, and should I still create the written articles related to those figures? I don't know. Also, I don't have time to be the first one to review a new figure coming out. I've got other responsibilities. I still have a lot of work to do elsewhere. So I don't know. But one thing for sure is I am having fun doing this. The action figures, I started collecting them again during the pandemic, and it was fun. It's still fun. I had stopped collecting figures for so many years, and then I just started again. Now, the line that made me collect figures again is G.I. Joe Classified. I'm so glad that G.I. Joe Classified showed up. I was already a G.I. Joe fan, especially as a kid. Transformer fans, Marvel Legend, you name it. DC, I used to like everything. Street Fighter. But then Classified, I just fell in love. As soon as I saw the first announcement of the new figures, I was like, wow, I need to get into this line right away. And I did. Well, they didn't arrive as quickly as I would have liked. Canadians will always get stuff late. But, I mean, I got them straight from Hasbro Pulse. My first series, the first one with Duke, Roadblock, Snake Eyes, Scarlet, and Destro, they all came from Hasbro Pulse, but Hasbro Pulse did not send me my stuff right away. I mean, I believe it was June, late June, early July by the time I got my first figures in 2020. A lot of you guys who were in G.I. Joe Classified had gotten them way ahead of that, well, from other places and so on. It doesn't matter. It's still a line that I really enjoy. It brought me back to Marvel Legend and a lot of other action figures, which I should not be collecting. I shouldn't be spending all that money, but it doesn't matter. I'm having fun right now. So this is what Comic Book Bin is. I'm going to try to do my best here. And if this is something you'd like to be part of, just like and subscribe. So this is Hervé filling you in since 2002. See you next time.